Asked repeatedly to say Black Lives Matter, Mike Pence says all lives matter. I've lived in Indiana all my life. Mike Pence is a fucking idiot. Look up what he said about AIDS in the past. Yet my father will always defend him by saying I like Mike. He's a good man. What makes him a good man, Dad? Silence. Always silence. Yet he keeps saying it. His career is already over, hopefully he is unemployed come January. When asked if Pence understands what it means, he shows he has no clue. This Father's Day, make sure to tell your dad that all parents matter, so, happy Parents' Day. When you watch much of the national news media these days, Brian, it seems like they focus more every day on what divides us in this country, Pence said. And I think the president saw an opportunity with a good sense of humor to once again challenge the media narrative. Sense of humor? Good one, Mikey. Trump has no sense of humor. Hell, he's incapable of even laughing for fear that A, he's not intelligent enough to get the joke, and B, he's afraid the joke is really about him. All lives don't matter until all lives matter. BLM. One of the best analogies I've heard about why all lives matter is offensive goes like this. Imagine going to a gala fundraiser to raise money for cancer awareness and research, going up to the podium, and declaring that all diseases matter. Declaring all lives matter in this specific moment of violence against black people is just as wildly inappropriate and insensitive as that. Someone should ask him to say, white lives matter, or, blue lives matter, and see if he sticks to all. Q for QAnon, https://imager.com/a/obua0lv, and thus prevents whipping from his master. Follow-up question should be, do gay lives matter? Racist much, Mike? They aren't even hiding being racist, that's what they are running on. How hard is it to say of course Black Lives Matter? I think all lives matter. That would have been the PR move if they cared. But of course they don't. All they care about is appearing racist to Trump's rabid fans. He can't even acknowledge that Black Lives Matter because it would hurt him politically. This administration is racist and seriously the worst in our nation's history. Insisting on saying all lives matter in the context of the grossly disproportionate killings of black lives by police is a willful misinterpretation of Black Lives Matter as only Black Lives Matter. The guy actually said, "No, a segment of America exists that doesn't believe all lives matter and are equally valuable. America has no racists," said no one but Mike Pence. The media is the problem. The media is making up these issues. That's another thing that Trump and Pence have in common. Did you guys know about Pence's failed effort to create a state-run media as Gov of Indiana? https://www.indystar.com/story/news/politics/2015/01/29/Pence ditches state-run news site plan after uproar/225302663/ Mike Jong Pence. So repeatedly noting black unemployment rates matter, but black lives do not. I have never in my life seen a USA government so hell-bent on driving a wedge between their own people. Given multiple opportunities to unite everyone during this awful era, they have chosen the path of divider every time. As an American, I am disgusted by our leaders. This is beyond the point of repair. It's the kind of person that Pence is. He and Trump will never change. They're extremely old-fashioned white dudes that think they're better than everyone around them, so they really don't care who suffers. They especially hate the idea of black people trying to gain equality because it goes against the racist mindset that their families have had for centuries. Trust me, Pence and Trump will never come around to the idea of supporting black people, or any people. They are agents of chaos, with everything to gain from every flaw in the system. A criminal presidency that runs exactly as intended for the people at the top, not so much for anyone in the middle or bottom. When someone tells you who they are, pay attention. Removed. This shit makes me so mad. Yes. Of course all lives matter. That's the ideal we should all strive for, but using it as a dodge so you don't have to acknowledge that specific groups are suffering disproportionately doesn't make you a fucking humanitarian. It makes you a closeted racist. I find it ironic that the people who are saying all lives matter in response to the BLM protests don't actually even believe that. Do homosexual lives matter to him? Do trans people's lives matter? Do undocumented Mexican immigrants' lives matter? Muslims, feminists, atheists, socialists. The only reason he is saying all lives matter is because he wants a good sounding retort to something that he doesn't believe is true. Mother disapproves. Don't waste your time. Just vote for what you believe in. Really, go vote. Don't listen to any polls, news source, shock jocks, friends, relatives, churches, etc., etc. Just go vote. Vote for what you feel is right. It's no longer about duty. It's about progress and our own survival. I have a feeling this coming election will be a major turning point in our history. Is he just stupid or a racist? And in this nation, especially on Juneteenth, we celebrate the fact that from the founding of this nation we've cherished the ideal that all of us are created equal, and endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. And so all lives matter in a very real sense. Fuck you, Mr. Vice President. The entire goddamn point is from the founding of this nation we didn't cherish, much less believe, all are created equal. Tone deaf, brown nose, git. Yeah, God forbid black people get any kind of recognition. Of course all lives matter. That's not what this is about. If all lives matter, then black lives matter. Not being able to say as much is pure racism. Well, I don't accept the fact, Brian, that there's a segment of American society that disagree. That right there tells us everything. He recognized it as a fact, but doesn't believe the fact. These Trump knuckleheads don't get the difference or don't want to accept the difference. Doing so will leave them open to all sorts of Republican doctrine problems. While they say all lives matter, nothing in their actions back that up, especially when it comes to non-white people. As a black person, we can see people like this garbage miles away, and it would not matter if he said it or didn't. His life work of hate speaks for itself. The only person in public in office who has a whole study named after him for being responsible for the worst spread of AIDS in the country. We can see hate and people who embody them. Wait till this guy finds out there is no heaven. If you can say all lives matter and blue lives matter but can't say black lives matter, then your problem is with the word black. Nazi lives don't matter, for one thing. All lives matter is not a position. It is like saying water is wet. It is worse than saying nothing. Obvious racism aside, this guy doesn't even believe that all lives matter. And what's fucked up is he doesn't believe either of those things. You mean the guy who calls his own wife mother won't say black lives matter? Color me shocked/s. Fuck Mike Pence. Of course he would. Ask if white lives matter and not be shocked when he smiles, says yes, and repeats all lives matter. All lives matter? So. Black lives matter? So say it. If you believe all lives matter, then you should have no issue saying black lives matter. When we say save the bald eagle, we aren't saying fuck all the other eagles. All lives matter is the response of a fucking child who has no grasp of context. This is a white supremacist administration. We already knew that. The fact they can't say Black Lives Matter unequivocally without conditions shows they don't really think they matter. There's no reason to say all lives matter other than to minimize the BLM message. I wish I could slap everyone who says all lives matter. All homes matter, so why are you so focused on getting the fire department to help you with your burning house?